UFC 323 is finally upon us, guys, and I'm hyped for this card somewhat because this is the last pay-per-view of the year, guys. And I gotta be real, guys. Heard some stories, guys, about like your significant others, guys. Heard your girl, guys. She's hungry, so I'ma feed her non. Please her mom. Then go ahead and do the deed on prom. My bad. That was hella rude. That was me non God. That was an undeserved shot. Call me Petr Yan. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Woo. Guys, listen, man. Let's get into this full card breakdown and predictions because I feel like I'm gonna go 100%. I have to close off the year. I have to close it off good, So, we did our research, we did our film study. Now I'm ready to get my full card breakdown. As I scroll through, just take a look, guys, with your eyeballs. Look at the name value on this card. This card's actually pretty good name value wise. I actually think it's a pretty good strong way to end off the card. Or end off the year, because I feel like 2025 was actually a pretty solid year outside of horrible matchmaking. But I'm not going to fucking rant about that again. Starting off with is this the first fight of the night? Because how? This is high-level fighting, bro. We have Muhammad Naimov and Marion Santos. Santos is a youngster, but he's been running crazy momentum. He had a win in the UFC that I thought was pretty controversial. But outside of that, he's shown his last fight, he looked brilliant. His striking looked really good. Then Muhammad Naimov, we know what he comes with every time. Great striking, great grappling. He's well-rounded. This one's interesting in the fact that it's a good name value. Definitely a step up for Santos. And I'm not going to lie. I think this fight I know who's going to win this fight. I think Muhammad Naimov gets it done. Like Mario Santos, like even though he looked good in his last fight, he usually has a problem with like he tries to keep things too pretty. Where like he picks his shots, but he takes too long picking his shots. And I feel like someone like Muhammad Naimov, who has the wrestling threat, as well as a striking offense, I feel like he could overwhelm Santos. So I don't know what the odds are. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be close because, like I said, Santos is riding crazy momentum. They might just be treating him like a hype job, like, oh, he's not going to be beatable. But I think Muhammad Naimov is just too well-rounded for him. I think he's going to mix in the striking with the grappling. So I'm going to go Muhammad Naimov first fight of the night. If this is the first fight of the night, that's a really stacked card, guys. Because this should not be the first fight. This should be like somewhere up. This should be like in maybe the last prelim fight. Like I really like the name value on this fight, but Naimov's gonna get it done against Santos. Santos is all right, but he's still young. Kid's like, I don't know how old he is. I swear he's like early 20s, guys. Damn near a teenager. Kid's a baby, bro. He's gonna get spanked by Naimov pretty comfortably. Next up, we got Manzur Abdul-Malik versus Antonio Trocoli. Man, I feel like Trocoli's one of those cans. You're like, yeah, you can take this can, man. Take the can, man. Abdul-Malik, he's still promising. He still looks a little bit green. Like, in the way he strikes, he's very explosive, but you can see, like, he might, when he goes against, like, a really good comp, he might have to be wary about how he throws some of his strikes and, like, how his gas tank is and all that. But overall, so far, I don't think he has to really worry about that, especially against Antonio Trocoli. Trocoli's a 6'5" fucking bot who just goes in there just to make people look better. Shara Bullet put it on Trocoli pretty bad. And Shara Bullet, like listen, if you just want to stand and throw hands with Trocoli, you're going to land. Shara could have got him out really quickly if he actually wanted to throw hands, but earlier on, he could have got him out even quicker, but I know Abdul-Malik's not going to be scared to throw hands with this Trocoli, dude. Trocoli gets chinned. I got Abdul-Malik by knockout. Like, there's no way Trocoli sees the final bell. He's just so lazy. When he gets tired, too, his chin's all in the air. Like, Abdul-Malik's going to hit him so hard. So I got Manzur Abdul-Malik riding. It's probably going to be a quick win. So he's going to ride some momentum. He's still 8-0, dude. He's still undefeated. So I guess keep your eye on him. Like I said, there's still things I see with him that are a little bit like, but he's not going to get exploited against an Antonio Trocoli. So he's going to go in there and knock out the 6'5" aura merchant. I swear, Trocoli's like best attribute in the career was like dating Mackenzie Dern. Was it Mackenzie? I think it was. Dude, he's dating a champion, man. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Mackenzie Dern. That's the... Anyways, I'm not even going to talk about Mackenzie Dern. She's horrible. But, yeah, Trocoli gets chinned. Moving on for this fight, we got Aslan versus Iwo Brand-Swiske. I definitely said that last name wrong, but I saw him on Dana White Contender Series. This guy is like he goes for it, dude. And there's once a world, guys, where Aslan would get mashed up with people and we're like, oh yeah, Ibo by the first round knockout. There was a world where that was a thing. Brother, not this world anymore. Ibo was like really athletic. He has potential, guys, but lately he's been riding a losing streak, and I feel like he's actively losing momentum, and he's losing belief in himself, which I'm starting to see now. And Iwo's just riding crazy momentum. That knockout finish, guys, that was the way he made that look. He just made it look so easy. He goes in there and like sleeps the guy early in Dana White Contender Series. But I like the way he went for it. Like, he wasn't really like slacking. He just went straight for it, and he put it on the guy. I think he's gonna do the same thing with Ibo, and I think it's actually gonna work to his benefit. It could be risky going in there with Ibo and trying to slug and just trade. But I do favor him because I feel like he has more confidence. Whereas I feel like Ibo's kind of on a downward trajectory, and I feel like momentum means a lot, and especially in the higher weight classes where power matters. Because if you're starting to lose fights and like you're a little bit scared to engage, you're probably not gonna get the upper hand with someone who's like, yeah, let me just fucking go in there, dude. So this fucking animalistic figure, he's gonna go in there and force Ibo to train and probably catch him. So give me Iwo by KO or points. Iwo versus Ibo. I'm riding with the IWO, not IBO, brother. Give me the Polish power. There's gonna be another Polish guy we're gonna talk about later, by the way, but give me the Poland 1-0 early on in the card. This one's interesting because Edson Barboza is at the point where he could be retired. Jalen Turner's coming out of retirement. When Jalen Turner said he was going to retire, guys, I was like, brother, you're not going to retire. Jalen Turner is the closest to what I feel like I would be. Except I think I have more heart, but if I was in the UFC, guys, like he's 6'3", but cuts to 155. I'd probably be 6'4". I'd probably cut to 155, get back up to like 177 on fight night. Use my beautiful strikes. So, this means a lot to me. I'm going in there against Edson Barboza, man. Here's the thing. Jalen Turner should win, and he really should make it look fairly easy. Edson Barboza's kicking game is always going to be good, but lately Edson Barboza has been showing me that he has about like 3-4 minutes where he looks all right, but then like if you start to pressure him, he starts to break pretty easily, and his gas tank's just not as good as he used to be. He's look at the shape of the guy, bro. I don't know what Edson's using, but gotta be using something because he stays in like crazy shape for some. Like, look at the abs. I feel like his abs are getting better, or they just don't change at all. It's kind of weird to me, honestly. I don't know what he's on, but he's gonna be in tremendous shape, but like shape visually, not really like when I actually watch him walking around, he fatigues pretty quick. So I think Jalen Turner should beat him. I don't know if he's going to finish Edson. He's probably going to land something big early and probably could finish Edson. I think Jalen Turner's going to finish him in the first round by some kind of strike. Or it could go to decision. But if it goes to decision, I know Jalen's going to fade as well. Because Jalen's gas tank's not the best either. But I'm going to just take Jalen Turner by KO or points. He should go in there and make it look fairly easy. But you can't really know for sure with Jalen Turner until he gets in there. And I think Jalen Turner still has that killer instinct, or I think he's starting to get it back. Like, because I feel like the Bobby Green fight, he always talks about it in interviews. Yeah, man, the Bobby Green fight. They just changed me, man. I don't know, man. But I think he needs to wake up and just go for it if he has Edson hurt. And I think he can definitely get Edson out of there if he jumps on that killer instinct. So give me Jalen Turner by KO points. Moving on for this one, we got Marvin Vettori versus Bruno Ferreira. This one's interesting. When Bruno Ferreira comes to fight, he'll fight. There's been times where Bruno Ferreira kind of like freezes up, like against Abus Magomedov, like because I think that's because of height difference. But Bruno could slang and bang, whereas Marvin Vettori is just like he's always gonna be there, but like he could definitely get outskilled by most of his opposition. I don't necessarily think Bruno Ferreira is all that skilled though, and I feel like they're gonna just go tit for tat. But I do think the volume and the pressure of Vettori can kind of frustrate or overwhelm Bruno Ferreira as the fight elongates. I'm sure there's going to be some grappling from both guys. Like, I know both guys aren't heavy on grappling, but when push comes to shove, they both if they're forced to do it, they'll like initiate it. Maybe some clinch, and I feel like that might actually favor Vettori. Vettori's might mix it up a little bit, but I do think Vettori's volume is going to give him the edge. It's probably going to be a close fight that does go the distance, but I'll probably lean Vettori by points. It's hard ever leaning Vettori by anything. He hasn't won a fight in I don't know how long, but to be fair, he's been going against some decent names, whereas I feel like Bruno Ferreira's a fight down for Vettori, and Vettori's kind of in that era of his life where like, yeah, I'm a gatekeep now. He's like gatekeep maxing. So like, let's see if he stops his first gatekeeping job, and I think he should. I think Bruno Ferreira is good, like I said, but I don't think he's good enough to school Vettori. Because most people will beat Vettori, kind of school him, because Vettori just kind of stands there. But I'm going to take Vettori. I think the volume. I think he might out-volume Bruno Ferreira, who sometimes just hit or miss with me. If Bruno Ferreira shows up like really good, he might get him, but I'm a lean Marvin Vettori here. I think the vintage Italian should get him. I don't even like Vettori. Such an unlikable person, but like outside of the MMA, but brother, give me this guy. That was the early prelims, by the way. So you mean to tell me, nah, this got to be fake. There's no way Naimov's early prelims. Anyways, into the prelims. Sadykov versus Ziam. Now, this is a good one, dude. I'll be real because both guys are pretty solid. Sadykov is like one of those people who I feel like when he is getting out-volumed on the feet, he goes to wrestling and it works for him. But like it leads him to be in a lot of dogfights. But here's the thing about Fairs. He can grapple too. Ziam can grapple too. He's just he's very skinny. He's listed as 6'1", guys. And so one of my Sean from my live stream, brother, he pointed at a picture with him and Izzy, and him and Izzy look the same exact height. So I don't know if, I think Fairs might be like 6'2", 6'3", guys. So the 6'1" is like, is no way. And that's why he looks so skinny for 155. Like, he looks thinner than Jalen Turner, even though Jalen Turner is 6'3". I think him and Jalen Turner look the same height. I'll be real. So I think he looks a little bit thin for the weight class. But despite looking thin, he's a good offensive wrestler. I feel like he holds his own in the grappling. I think Ziam is going to be too much for Nazim because I feel like I could see him having really good striking, especially with the kick game of Ziam. And then, like, if Sadykov tries to grapple, I could actually see Ziam winning a lot of the grappling exchanges. So I'm going to actually lean Ziam in a fight that I think is pretty like competitive. I don't really know the odds for this one. Okay, minus 142 on Ziam. And I think it's rightfully so, guys. I think Fairs is a little bit more well-rounded. But I will say Sadykov's not going to make, like, he's going to make it a dogfight as much as he can. But there has been fights I've seen Sadykov kind of look one step behind on the feet. Whereas Ziam's lately, like, been riding good momentum to a point I feel like I'm more confident picking him. Even if Ziam has been in some uncomfortable positions in the grappling, in the striking, he just, like, first of all, his ability to not tap is second to none. He has like that dog fighting ability in him, whereas I feel like when Sadykov has been in like dog fight situations, he's kind of like faltered down and like and slowed down a little bit. So I think Ziam via maybe by points, but it might be a close one depending how Sadykov shows up. But I am gonna go Ziam in this one. Moving on to the next fight. Barber versus Silva. I'm not gonna lie, this fight is a little bit like I don't really care what happened in this fight. I'll be real, when I first saw this fight, like when I was scrolling through, I was like, okay, Silva's gonna win. Then I started to look into the fight a little bit deeper. Silva is a little bit hit or miss with me in some of the way she be fighting. Like, I feel like her striking's alright at best, and then when she does grapple, she does decent, but it's not gonna do decent against Barber because I feel like Barber is gonna be ready to grapple as well. So it's going to be an interesting tit for tat battle, just like every WMMA one is. Stupid ass tit for tats that we just don't care about. Tit for tat maxing. But I do think Barber is riding a lot more momentum, and I think Barber's wins are a lot more impressive than Silva's. Like, is beating people she should beat, and she's losing to some people who aren't even that, like, she lost to Vivian Ardua, who's not even that good to me. So I think I'm gonna lean Barber after further consideration. But I remember when I first saw this fight and I was thinking in my head like Silva's gonna wash her. Not so much anymore after looking at some things. So I'm going to go Barber. I think Barber should get it done against Silva. Here's WMMA. Don't put your house on this one because why would you even think of doing that in the first place? All right, next up we have Terrence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. Terrence McKinney with that smile. Look at the way he smiles, man. It's like Terrence McKinney knows before he goes into fights, yeah, I'm going to get knocked out or I'm going to knock someone out. And I'll be real, Chris Duncan is like, I feel like Terrence McKinney's like a coin toss. Like, he's gonna win one, he's gonna lose one, he's gonna win one. And I don't think he's gonna beat Chris Duncan just because I feel like Chris Duncan's a little bit too solid. Chris Duncan's not someone who like gets finished early on every time. Like, this is one of those fights where Terrence McKinney has to prove himself again against like high level comp, and I feel like he's gonna fall short. One thing about McKinney, he's gonna go in there and try to get it. I'll give him credit. I don't know if he's trying to make it his thing now where he like just goes in there and tries to literally, I'm not going to say fluke a win, but just tries to say, fuck it, whoever wins, wins. It's such a dangerous style. Like, it doesn't have much longevity to it, but it's how he fights. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Chris Duncan's a lot more seasoned, a lot more well-rounded. I feel like Chris Duncan knows how to mix it up well. So I think McKinney's wildness is going to be to his detriment in this one. I think Chris Duncan's going to get it done. So give me Chris Duncan probably by finish, man. I can see Chris Duncan by submission or points, or submission or KO. So just give me Chris Duncan in the fight not going the distance. Terrence McKinney, this is one of those steps ups. This is one of those step ups for him that he's gonna lose, and then he's gonna go back and he's gonna beat his next fight against a nobody. But McKinney's always fun. You could guarantee a finish in this fight, so that's cool. But yeah, Chris Duncan gets it done. Moving on from that one, we got Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres. Grant Dawson, Khabib's replacement, you know. Listen, 2 losses, guys, and like one of them was like way back when in 2021. Then we had the Bobby Green situation, the Bobby Green incident. That was such a fluky ass fight. which is what Manuel Torres is probably thinking he's going to do in his head. He's going to just catch him and finish him early. I think Grant Dawson gets it done. Grant Dawson's going to take him down. He's really good at controlling, like getting in controlling positions and landing ground and pound. Grant Dawson will land ground and pound. He's not like just going to stand on top of you, do nothing. He'll land ground and pound. He's going to use his grappling, of course, every single fight. Manuel Torres is all right. He's a good striker. If it's a striker versus striker, it could be interesting. But I know Grant Dawson's game plan, and I know he's gonna implement it no matter how hard it gets. Like he's gonna implement it because that's what he's gonna do. So it's gonna come down to Manuel Torres can stuff the takedowns, and I haven't seen Torres go against any good grappler at the level of Grant Dawson at least. So I think Grant Dawson takes him down, milks him, and I think Grant Dawson's striking is getting a little bit better. He looks a little bit like awkward, but I do think it's improving. So give me Grant Dawson over Manuel Torres to end off the prelims. Now, starting with the main card, this one's close, This one's interesting, because, listen, Blachowicz is on like a 3-fight not winning streak. Drew, which was a loss to Inc. Alive, in my opinion. He had the fight against Ferreira, of course. He lost that. Then he had the fight against Carlos Ulberg. And that was after a return. He looked good against Carlos Ulberg, which surprised me. I actually didn't expect him to look as good as he looked against Carlos Ulberg. Ulberg was just doing a lot of like hitting, sticking, and moving. This one's tough because I feel like he's still good, but it's Bogdan Guskov. And I feel like Guskov has been looking good as well. He just knows his timing for his strikes are good. His speed's good. I think he's going to sit in the pocket more with Blachowicz, which is going to help Blachowicz out, but I don't think it's going to... Does Blachowicz really want to do that, It's only a 3-round fight. Honestly, this is a 50-50 for me. I think the odds will probably glaze Guskov a lot here. Oh, no, they're not. They're going to give... Oh, shit. Blachowicz is actually the favorite. I was going to say, he's good, man. I'll be real, guys. When I first started this fight, I was saying Blachowicz is going to win. But the more I think of it, guys, I think Guskov's riding good momentum. And he has power, man. Guskov has power. He's riding momentum. Of course, Ulberg is pretty solid, too. And I do think Ulberg versus Blachowicz was actually closer than people think. I think Blachowicz was landing some good shots, whereas Ulberg was trying to just not fight, but trying to avoid fighting or trading as much as possible. I know Guskov's going to be in the pocket with Blachowicz, but Blachowicz is only aging, man. And I'm going to go the dog here. I'm going to go Guskov. I think Guskov has what it takes to beat Jan Blachowicz. But I think it's going to be one of those fights where I know Blachowicz is still good, but I do think... Even though he lost to Ulberg in a really 50-50 fight, and Ulberg's one of the best, I think Guskov's momentum is different. So if Guskov was anyone else, like even Krylov or anything, I would pick Blachowicz. But gotta be honest, guys, I think Guskov gets it done. I think I'm gonna go the underdog here. It's a very close fight though, so I do understand why Blachowicz is a favorite, and I'm actually glad the odds makers made him the favorite because I think that's the right thing to do. That being said, I'm still going the underdog Guskov because the momentum has been looking good for Guskov. Close fight though, very close fight. I don't know Kamaru. Talbott's good, Kamaru. He's good. Henry Cejudo, Peyton Talbott. Not gonna lie, this fight's pretty easy for me to pick. I think Peyton Talbott schools Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo's offensive wrestling has never been all that, but lately, specifically, more so than ever, has never been all that. It's been getting worse. His takedowns are a lot more telegraphed nowadays. Peyton Talbott's wrestling bad in one of his fights, and then he improved greatly in his rematch. Not his rematch, his next fight, which let me know that he actually took time to improve. And I feel like he, based on his last fight, he's gonna stuff these takedowns and give Henry Cejudo hell. There's no way Cejudo wins. I love Cejudo, one of my favorite fighters, but he has no chance against Peyton Talbott. Yeah, minus 285 is a good call for the UFC. I think Talbott schools him. I think he just has a clinic on the feet, and yeah, poor Cejudo. Cejudo hopefully sees the final bell. I don't want to see him get finished. Look at his angry shirt. Yeah, don't look at me like that, little boy. Hey, bro, I'm not the bad guy here, man. I'm not Kamaru, I'm not Kamaru, Now, Cejudo gets schooled by Peyton Talbott. I'm not going to lie. Peyton Talbott does look like he's improving. He does look promising the more I see him. So I think a win over Cejudo is going to be a good thing for his resume. So congrats to Peyton Talbott on the win over Henry Cejudo. This fight right here is good. Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. Dude, I'm a fan of Tatsuro Taira, and I want him to do well. And I'll be real, guys, I want him to win this fight. I really like Taira. I think he's the new gen of the Asian grapplers who are just doing really well in the UFC, man. Or not really well, but who have the chance to do really well. Thing about this is the Taira fight with Roy Val is showing me that, yes, Taira's grappling still tier 1. That was a 5-round fight, though, That was a 5-round fight. But it showed when Taira was forced to stand with Roy Val Was that a 5-round fight? I think it was. But it showed when Taira was forced to stay with Roy Val, his head movement was abysmal. Like, he couldn't move his head at all. And you would think his striking improved, but I don't think it's improved enough for him to beat Brandon Moreno. That's where I draw. Like, that's where the problem is. It's not that. It's just that I don't think it's enough to improve and beat Moreno. Moreno looked good in his last fight, And Moreno's scrambling's always tier 1, man. Like, as much as I want Taira to win, I'd be crazy not to pick Brandon Moreno here. He's just a great scrambler. He has great offensive wrestling himself, and his striking output's probably going to be enough to hurt Taira on the feet. Taira's best bet's getting a backpack in, which is possible. And he has his ways to get the backpack. And when he does, you're not going anywhere. But it's a 50-50 fight. But they actually have Taira as a slight favorite. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's not smart. That's weird from the odds makers. I think Brandon Moreno wins. I like that, though. I like that people believe in him. I love Taira, man, but I don't think he wins. I got to be objectively honest here. If I could just pick with my soul, I'm picking with Taira. Because I know he needs to get that backpack locked in, but it's just hard to control someone like Moreno unless you get that backpack, and Moreno's scrappy, man. And I think on the feet it's going to be problematic. So give me Brandon Moreno over Tatsuro Taira. Taira, please prove me wrong. I want you to win. I also like the babyface assassin, but I think Brandon Moreno gets this one done. Co-main event. See, I already made my whole video on this. The comments are like, oh, Kenny seems like a Kaikar fans. I love it. I like picks like this, guys. These are my favorite picks. Look at the odds, guys. Look at what people are saying. And this is one of those picks where I know after the fact, like when I get it right, they're going to switch up, but it's good. Like, I like picks like this. They're my favorite, and I'm going to end off the year with the Mr. Kenny Bang, and I know I am. And even if you're listening to what I'm saying right now, and you're like, whoa, I know what's gonna happen in this fight, and I can't wait till Joshua Van. I just watched back Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval. He's so reactive. Like, that's the problem with him. People can't just walk forward into Van and not get counterpunched. People don't really understand because they don't really watch film, but if you watch how Pantoja strikes, it doesn't work with specific counterpunching styles. If you watch back the Figgy fight, you're gonna understand what I mean. And he's going against the very crisp and the best counter boxer in UFC history, Joshua Van. So when he's running into him, taking these punches, don't be surprised. Don't be, I'm not going to have to say I told you so moment. I did see a little video that Van was like, he doesn't have a game plan, which is what Van said against Royval too. And I do think it's like a very risky. I know he's training what he needs to be training though. His inexperience on the ground's a little bit scary for me because he has been rear naked choked before. I found that out, and that's always scary to think about. Because Pantoja, if he gets the back, is going to be very dangerous. My whole thing is, I understand that Pantoja needs to sub him to win, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think how reactive Van is in his takedown defense is going to be enough to keep the fight standing, and that's when he's going to be constantly on the front foot. Usually Pantoja is the hammer, guys. I'm telling you right now, quote me on this. Van's going to be the hammer. Pantoja's going to be the nail. Van's going to be walking down Pantoja. Pantoja's going to be backing up. He's going to have his back against the fence, and then Van's going to unload combos on him. I know Joshua Van is going to beat Alexander Pantoja when it comes to Saturday. And you don't got to believe me, man. I don't need anyone to. I want people to keep doubting me. That's what makes the picks that much better. So your job's in the comments right now, guys, is to be like, oh, didn't you pick Kaikar France? You got to help me out. Do that, please. I beg you do this. So when I get this pick right, you're like, oh, well, I guess you got lucky. Okay. Say what you want to say. I know Joshua Van's going to win. The boxing is going to be too much for him, guys. The counter wrestling is going to be too much for Pantoja. I'll be surprised if Pantoja doesn't get finished. That's like how much I believe Van's striking is that much superior. Like, if Pantoja doesn't get finished, I'll be surprised. A lot of people are expecting Pantoja to go in there and bully Van and kind of get him down and do whatever he wants with him. I just don't see that happening. But you never know, man. At the end of the day, anything's possible, but I don't think it's possible for Van not to end 2025 as a UFC champion, guys. And I think he gets it done against Alexander Pantoja, who's great, one of the GOATs, but it won't be enough. Give me Joshua Van by KO or points to beat Alexander Pantoja. And it brings me to the main event of the evening, which I haven't really had much to say about because I feel like it's really easy. Petr Yan's actively... Why does Petr Yan look like that? That looks like an older picture of Yan. Why does he look a little bit young, like no facial hair? I don't know. Anyways, I for real think Yan has been getting worse. He's been winning, but like I don't think he looked that... Like he looked... Like, yeah, you lost a round to McGee, the Ninja Turtle, and then you beat him the last 2 rounds because he slowed down and fatigued. I don't know if he thinks like maybe Merab's going to fatigue and slow down. He's going to gain. Like, you're going to lose the first round because you always lose first rounds. And Merab's not going to tire, so you're going to lose the second. Then you're going to lose the third. I think Merab finishes Yan. I'll be surprised if Yan doesn't get finish. I got Merab by KO or sub. KO or sub. That's probably what I'll go. I'll be surprised if Petr Yan sees the final bell. There was a time Merab almost got Corey Sandhagen out of there. You know, and I think something very similar could happen with Yan, where he's unloading on him and finishes him, maybe ground and pound. I think Merab's going to beat Yan, and I think he's going to finish him. It's not that Yan's getting worse. Merab looks like he's getting better. Like, I feel bad for Yan here. I think with Merab, though, he's very active. The only thing that could be his detriment here is being overactive. You know, he's been chasing, like, how much is that 4 this year, bro? That's absurd to me. Because now his win streak he's gonna damn near fucking catch up to Islam, who just fucking broke Silva's Silva streak. Crazy, man. I don't know. Merab's just in a weird situation where he's so active. His activity could be his biggest problem right now, because it's definitely not going to be Petr Yan. He's beat Petr Yan in his best, in his prime, when Merab wasn't even at his best. Now Merab's at his best, and Petr Yan's getting worse. Merab schools this guy without even trying. I don't know anyone picking Yan. If you are, you're just picking him off vibes, not off IQ. That's it for me, though, guys. That's the full card prediction. I don't do parlays anymore, but if I was going to do a lay, I'd probably go... what's a guaranteed, like, 2-legger I could hammer? Let's see. Give me Naimov. Peyton Talbott. And Joshua Van. Let's go, man. Naimov, Peyton Talbott, Joshua Van, 3-legger. Hammer that shit, put 1,000 on it, win 1,000 million, guys. That's it for me. Let me know what you guys think about these picks down below, and God bless. 2, 3, 4.